Hello and welcome to this video about what were we doing before spring break 8th grade version. So what we were doing, graphing quadratic functions, meaning we were making parabolas. So what we're looking at is something like f of x, or if you want to, whatever floats your boat, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And what we're doing is working on being able to extract some information from the equation, because what we want to do is be able to build up, we want to find 3 to 5 points to make our graph. Make our graphs. Now, the most important point that we need from this is the vertex. So I will write that right here. Vertex, and our vertex comes from these right here, where we're going to go with negative b over 2a comma f of negative b over 2a. That gives us our vertex point. After that, we have some other tips and tricks we have to help us get these 3 to 5 points that we need. So one tip that we have is C. That is our Y intercept. Second one that we end up having is what we would call our roots slash zeros. And what that is where we take ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and we solve. X equals this, or x equals that. That will tell us where our quadratic function will cross the x-axis. One thing I forgot to mention, but definitely worth noting here, is that a tells us the direction. So if a is greater than 0, we're going to have a parabola that looks like this. If a is less than 0, meaning it's negative, we'll have a quadratic function that looks like that. And finally, to go with this, we have the A trick. Don't know if you remember that one from before spring break, but the A trick is we use A to find, or use A as a slope to find the point to the right of vertex. And with the vertex, we have to remember that there is this axis of symmetry at x equals negative b over 2a, which essentially allows us to double any of these points. So again, this is all very theoretical, lots of talking, not enough action. So let's go take a look at an actual graph and see what we have here. Say that we're going to graph the function f of x is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 5. So again, my goal here is to get 3 to 5 points from this in order to be able to sort of sketch out the graph of my parabola. Right off the bat, I see that a is greater than 0, so we're going to have a parabola that looks like this. We just got to find out where all the points are for it. So first thing I'll do is my negative b over 2a comma f of negative b over 2a to find that vertex. So let's see here. Negative b over 2a would be negative 6 over 2 times 1, which will just simplify to negative 3. So let's see here. F of negative 3 is going to give me negative 3 quantity squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 5. So that's 9 minus 18 plus 5. 9 minus 18 is negative 9 plus 5 is equal to negative 4. So what I get from this is my vertex is at the point negative 3, negative 4. So negative 3, negative 4, found my vertex. Now from here, I got a couple other things. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of walk through all of them, maybe give them different colors so you can see what it looks like. Because sometimes we can use all of these tools, but to use all of these old tools and tricks is a little bit overkill. We more just want to use what makes the most sense to get our 3 to 5 points. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find my X intercepts. In order to do that, I didn't use this language on the previous screen, but what we're going to do is we go f of x equal to 0. So I go x squared plus 6x plus 5 equal to 0. Try to solve it. That means I have to factor. So I'll have x plus 5, x plus 1 equals 0, x equals -1, x equals -5. Well, now that I've factored these, I know that at -5, I have a point, and at -1, I have a point. So again, let me erase. The next point, I'm going to use the fact that C is our y-intercept. So C is 5, so I have a point there. But then I'm also going to combine the axis of symmetry to help me find another point. So my vertex, there's this axis of symmetry that goes right through there. Not the best line I've drawn. Let me try that again. About the same. Okay. Well, if this point is 1, 2, 3 spots away, I can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 spots away here and get another point. Now I've got 1, 2, and then I have these 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Just for good measure, I'll even show you the A trick. So A trick. Here it's pretty simple. So since A equals 1, that means I could go up 1 to the right 1, and I can find my next point to the right. Since, again, I have the axis of symmetry, I can find the point opposite of it right there. Now, I have all these beautiful points, and I can fit my graph to those points. So again, our goal is to have a bunch of points so that we get a nice, pretty graph for what it looks like. Now, we'll be spending more time going over this in more detail and practicing it, but we already learned the skills. We've learned to identify the vertex. We've learned to find solutions. We did that with our quiz before spring break. We learned about the direction based off of A. We've learned a bunch of these things, but now we're going to start applying them together so that we can make these pictures.